Hello everybody, and welcome to the Thursday edition of Video Clips. I'm often asked why we recommend that people eat 5 to 6 times per day instead of eating just 3 meals. Well, there are a lot of reasons. First, most people eat snacks in between meals, and the reason they do this is they're hungry. And people don't like being hungry. I know this is true for me. When I'm hungry, I'm not happy, and I get increasingly unhappy until I get food. Assuming that hungry people are eventually going to eat something, I think it's better to plan to eat rather than waiting until hunger drives you to make poor last-minute choices. Thus, we recommend eating 5 to 6 times per day and calling all of these eating episodes meals. We eliminate the term snack from the vocabulary. The reason for this is that when people think of snacks, they think of pretzels, crackers, or soy yogurt. Well, foods like this are not necessarily harmful, but they're not really nutritious either. On the other hand, when people think about meals, they think about choices like soup and beans and rice and quinoa and vegetable salads. Converting to a 5 to 6 times per day meal pattern results in diverting those snack calories to meal-type food like sweet potatoes, vegetable wraps, and black bean chili. Pretzels aren't forbidden, but if you're like me and you really like them, you'll eat them if they're around, so don't keep them around and enjoy them as treats instead. In addition to avoiding long periods of hunger, which doesn't work for most people, research shows that eating regularly scheduled and more frequent meals results in increased metabolic rate and calorie burn and favorable changes in body composition. The reason is that the thermic effect of food varies based on several factors, including frequency of eating. Now, if you're not familiar with the term, the thermic effect of food, or thermogenesis, is defined as the energy expenditure above the resting metabolic rate that is due to the processing of food for energy use or storage. People who eat regularly at shorter intervals have a higher burn rate than those who eat at irregular and longer intervals. Some other benefits of eating regularly and more frequently include lower total cholesterol, lower LDL cholesterol, and lower insulin levels. Research also shows that eating more frequently leads to better body composition. A study of elite female athletes showed that women who ate regularly several times throughout the day had less body fat than women who ate less frequently. And a study of boxers who ate the same amount of calories in either 2 or 6 meals per day showed that those who ate 6 meals preserved their lean muscle mass, while those who ate 2 meals a day lost lean muscle mass. Well, what's the mechanism of action that explains this? When people do not eat often enough, blood glucose levels drop and amino acids like alanine are released from lean muscle and converted to glucose. This serves to stabilize blood glucose, but it does it at the expense of lean mass. Additionally, both very low and very high glucose levels increase the storage of fat. Over time, the loss of lean mass and gaining of body fat contributes to weight gain. The reason is a pound of lean muscle burns 14 calories a day, while a pound of fat burns only 3. Unfavorable changes in body composition result in a decrease in the number of calories burned even while you eat the same amount of food and engage in similar amounts of activity. Serial dieters tend to both eat less frequently, which is counterproductive for building and maintaining a lean body, but they also restrict calories too much. Severe calorie restriction also results in reduction in lean mass, increase in fat tissue, and reduction in resting metabolic rate. Severe calorie restriction can result in as much as 620 fewer calories burned per day. Another practice suggested for weight loss is intermittent fasting, which involves various patterns of cyclic food restriction. Now, some people will restrict their food every day by eating in a very particular window of time, say between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Others may fast or restrict food a couple of days a week and then eat normally the rest. This is a practice that may have some value for some people in some situations, for example, for a cancer patient. But there really isn't much evidence that it leads to better health than can be achieved with optimal diet and exercise for the majority of people. Intermittent fasting is a difficult practice to sustain over a long period of time, and experience has shown us that the harder you make this, the more restrictions you pile on, the less likely it is that a person will still be eating a healthy diet and doing the right things several months or several years later. Therefore, we only recommend restrictions that are necessary to reach the weight loss and health improvement goals. We don't want to pile anything additional onto it. I mean, I have enough people telling me this is hard without making it harder. There's some evidence that intermittent fasting may be counterproductive, particularly for weight loss. Ramadan is a holiday celebrated by Muslims that involves fasting from sunrise to sunset every day for 30 days. The fast is broken every night with family and friends. The pattern of eating at Ramadan is similar to the pattern of eating for those who practice intermittent fasting. Researchers who evaluated the effects of daily fasting in both lean and obese women during Ramadan reported that both leptin and insulin levels increased significantly in both groups. Higher insulin levels leads to more fat storage. Ramadan-associated daily fasting is limited to only 1 month a year, but some advocates of intermittent fasting suggest that you do this forever. And we don't really have any data on what happens if you do it forever. Another concern is the effect of intermittent fasting on exercise, which is necessary both for weight loss and for health maintenance. Humans use carbohydrate for fuel, either in the form of plasma glucose or glycogen, which is the storage form of glucose. When plasma glucose and glycogen are depleted, exercise performance is reduced, and then the body starts using fat and lean mass for fuel. This contributes to the cycle described above, in which higher burning lean muscle mass is catabolized, which lowers metabolic rate. So for most people, the conversion to a health-promoting diet that's plant-based is somewhat challenging. And again, I hear all the time how hard it is. Now, we try to make it easy here, and I think we do a pretty good job of it. But let's face it involves learning different shopping methods and food prep skills and giving up foods that people are attached to and love. I don't think we need to make it harder than it needs to be. So, eating frequently keeps most people from experiencing long periods of hunger, which they usually don't tolerate very well, and reduces the risk of poor last-minute choices. If you don't plan to bring something to the office with you, you're likely to just go across to the street to the deli and get some cookies and coffee. Being able to eat optimally while living and eating normally, which means eating dinner with your family and celebrating birthdays and holidays with meals, makes it a lot more likely that people will be able to stick with their new optimal habits. So the title of the article is called Eating Enough and Eating Often Enough. You have to do both. Starving yourself and eating infrequently lead to reductions in metabolism, adverse changes in body composition, completely counterproductive to what you're trying to do, which is to achieve and maintain a healthy, lean body. All right, that's all for today. As usual, pass this on to anybody who you think might enjoy watching it, and I'll be back to you on Tuesday of next week with more news.